How many meals should Indians have in a day? Needless to say, meal times are sacred in every Indian household, with many following a strict four-meal routine: breakfast, lunch, chai time, and dinner. But have you ever wondered if this is truly the best approach? Indians love to eat. In an Indian household, meal times are almost sacred, and calorie counting often takes a backseat. A typical desi household enjoys anywhere between 2 to 3 meals a day, and that's not even counting the essential chai sessions that keep us going. While our love for food is undeniable, and the sheer variety makes restraint tricky, there is also this question: is indulging in elaborate 4-course meals okay, or are we just overeating? While 3 meals a day today are almost indispensable, unless you are on some kind of diet, did you know breakfast wasn't always part of a typical Indian diet? Until the 14th century, it wasn't usual to consume an early morning meal in India. Meals began only around midday, and the only other big meal was supper, which used to be lighter than the midday meal. Since the population consisted primarily of land-owning farmers and gatherers, this way worked the best for them. As more Indians started finding jobs in fields, homes, and factories, eating habits shifted. What was once reserved for children, the elderly, or the unwell became a routine for many workers, as they began their days with an early snack. In the 19th century, the East India Company's arrival also introduced tea, coffee, and the idea of breakfast as a formal meal, especially amongst the elite. But is that the right way forward? There's an old Indian saying, "Do waqt ki roti, do waqt khana hota hai." So, ideally, for a relatively low-activity lifestyle, 2 to 2.5 meals a day should be enough. That could mean 2 main meals with a small snack, like nuts, rather than 3 big meals. Ideally, for a relatively low-activity lifestyle, 2 to 2.5 meals a day should be enough. While 2 meals can work for many, factors like age, activity level, and health goals also play a role in deciding what's ideal for each individual. Recent studies indicate that eating too frequently could actually confuse hunger cues and lead to overeating, especially with carb-heavy snacks. India's typical diet is rich in carbohydrates and fats, which, as research suggests, can increase appetite and lead to overeating. With calorie-dense foods in every meal, it's worth asking, where does this leave us? The rich variety of Indian cuisines, with their vibrant and spicy dishes, along with the cultural emphasis on shared meals and food-centric rituals, can distract the brain and encourage overeating. Food as a love language. In India, food isn't just sustenance, it's a love language. We celebrate, comfort, and express affection through food. Our undefined meal patterns lead us to overeat. A lot of people indulge emotionally in food, gravitating towards sweets and high-calorie foods with little nutritional value. In India, food is our way of expressing so many emotions. The challenge of portion control. Portion control can be tough when it comes to Indian meals, which are typically multi-course and carb-heavy. Given that India has a large vegetarian population, many rely on pulses and dairy for protein. However, lactose intolerance affects 60 to 66% of Indians, and dal, the staple protein source, contains more carbohydrates than protein. So, while we may pile up on calories, we might not be getting the desired benefits from it. It is recommended that to do 2.5 meals a day, with a few considerations for those with specific needs, such as pregnancy or diabetes. For a normal, healthy person, eating according to the circadian rhythm, essentially, eating with the sun. That means an eating window of about 6 to 8 hours, ideally between 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. or 11 a.m. to 7 p.m., with no meals after sunset. When you limit eating to a smaller window, you naturally keep meals to about 2.5, allowing the body to rest and digest properly. A structured 3-meal approach with portion control. For balanced daily calorie intake, it is recommended 400 to 500 calories for breakfast, 500 to 700 for lunch, and 400 to 600 for dinner, with snacks limited to around 200 to 300 calories as needed. In the end, the right number of meals depends on your lifestyle, health needs, and what feels best for you, whether you prefer an Indian or Mediterranean diet. Whether you choose to eat breakfast, have a lighter dinner, or adjust meal timing, it's all about how your body responds to these changes. Every body is different, tune in and adapt accordingly. However, be mindful of your calorie intake, as that's often where we slip up. Regardless of whether you follow an Indian, Mediterranean, or continental diet, it's the calories that ultimately make or break the deal. Thanks for watching.